And because it's a Wednesday, immigration update po tayo as we help you live and fulfill and thrive in your American dream.
This American Dream segment is brought to you by Aquino & Lowe Law Firm, answering your immigration questions.
All right, good news, bad news muna tayo, Attorney Alison Aquino. The good news is H-1B visa cap hasn't been reached, so they can still file.
Exactly.
The bad news is, are there really jobs out there? Are there really companies hiring?
Well, it's still difficult given the economic climate to secure sponsors, but if you are fortunate enough to secure a sponsor, there have only been 21,600 visa petitions filed, and that means that there are still well over 50,000 visas available.
There are still a lot, but then what are the requirements? For people watching, they're looking for a job, they found a sponsor, lucky for them. What are the requirements?
Well, the main requirement is that the job being offered to you is a professional or specialty occupation. So it can't, for example, be a caregiver position. It needs to be a position that requires, at a minimum, a bachelor's degree or higher.
Okay, all right. But that's, okay, I think we always talk about this on the show, so you should know this by now, but a case related to H-1B visas just happened, just got decided on, and can you tell us about this? This is very interesting.
Yes. This gentleman from Indonesia was here in the United States on a student visa. Eventually, he was able to find a sponsor for an H-1B. The company was successful in sponsoring him for the H-1B visa. For whatever reasons, the company decided they didn't want to employ the individual.
Wow. And companies can do that?
Yes, they can change their mind.
Okay.
But the point is, there are requirements that the company must take in order to limit their liability to the worker.
Okay.
So this gentleman never even started working for the company, not one day of employment. After he left the United States, went back to Indonesia, he filed a complaint against the company. And even though he never worked one day, the court determined that the company must pay this individual wages for all 3 years.
Wow.
Despite never even working for them.
So this case is twofold. A lot of employers watching us right now, you'll learn from this, and a lot of people too who've been petitioned for H-1B. First of all, termination. So the company can change their mind at any time.
At any time.
And they can terminate you even if they sponsored you for work visa.
Correct.
Okay? What happens if you get terminated as an employee?
As an employee, first of all, most people obviously want to stay here in the United States. So from the employee's perspective, what they really need to do is look for a new sponsor right away.
Okay.
There is essentially a period of time when you can go and look for a sponsor, and if you were terminated and so the violation of your H-1B visa is not your fault, you can still apply for an extension once you find a new sponsor.
Okay, but now for the company side, for the employer side, there is what we call requirements for termination of employment.
Yes.
Okay, and there are 3. Can you discuss that?
Yes. In order for a company to fulfill the requirements of a bona fide termination, they must do 3 things.
Okay.
One is notify the employee. Second is notify the immigration. And third is pay for the individual's plane ticket or transportation back to their native country.
Okay.
So in this recent case, the company did notify the employee. Eventually, they did notify the immigration service, but the individual paid for his own ticket back to Indonesia.
Oh, okay.
And so because of the fact that immigration that the company didn't fulfill that one requirement, which is about $1,000 perhaps,
right,
they were held responsible for paying the gentleman 3 years of wages.
Wow.
His transportation, and this is more than $150,000 for a gentleman who never worked for the company.
Wow. And so the employers, you should watch out for that. Make sure you fulfill the 3. When you notify the employee of his termination or her termination, what kind of limit, how much time do you give? Is that not included in the parameters?
As far as immigration is concerned, there's no requirement. So that would fall more under labor laws. So with respect to immigration, just as long as you notify the individual, naturally through written document is the best thing. That fulfills the immigration requirement.
And make sure you pay for the person's plane ticket going back to, what if the person was able to find a job here? Do you still need to pay for a plane ticket?
No.
Okay.
You would not have to, because then the individual is simply remaining here.
Okay.
But to be on the safe side, again, because this is a big responsibility for companies,
right,
it would be prudent for companies to document everything, offer to pay for the individual at a minimum for his return ticket, and that way it does limit liability and show that you are trying to fulfill all the laws, but the gentleman chose otherwise.
Right. And Aquino and Lowe Law Firm, you do give advice also to employers, to companies willing to sponsor, correct?
Yeah.
That's the number to call on the screen. Schedule your office appointment now. They do give free office consultation and for a very minimum fee for email and phone consultation. Thank you so much and more power to you.
Thank you, Janelle.
Magbabalik pa po ang Kababayan LA. This time, let us meet a Kababayan pride in the city of Los Angeles. Very inspiring story, and we'll learn a lot from him. You wouldn't want to miss that.